Hi everyone. Well, in a couple of days' time it is going to be February, which means that it's soon Valentine's Day. I have decided to grab one of these lovely little port glasses once again, beautiful lead crystal, quite thick, and I'm going to go into the theme of love using a heart basic drawing, which I have done on, well, it would be tracing paper if I could find my tracing paper, which I don't use anymore, but I grabbed the engraving paper that I demonstrated a while ago on the fish. Now, okay, the fish had a lot of detail and I was experimenting with this paper, so this now is quite unnecessary, but it's just a simple demonstration. If you used tracing paper, fold it in half like I've done with this, draw the shape on the one side so that it fits like so it fits within the area, and then turn it over and you trace through the other side and you end up with a symmetrical heart. Okay, it's not rocket science. So the fact that this is sticky, I'm going to stick it on the top, but the tracing paper, you would get a bit of blue tack and then stick it inside the glass and trace it. Then unless you want to draw it straight onto the glass, that's fine. You can engrave it straight onto the glass, that's fine. And it doesn't have to be symmetrical anyway. It really is, you've got artistic license, you can do whatever you like. But I'm going to give this stuff a go again. It is that sticky paper. I wasn't that fond of it the first time, but it was an interesting demonstration from one of my wonderful patrons, Alma, who died so sadly, and you can see she had sent this to me, and that back peels off and leaves this sticky paper, and we'll stick that on the front of the glass, and I'm going to engrave that fairly deep because the glass has got a fairly good depth to it at the top, and then of course increases as it goes down, especially near the bottom here. So I've got quite a lot to play with down the bottom. So I am thinking I'm going to engrave the whole heart out quite deep, and then I might even put some texture in it. Might put texture in it just for fun. And then I'm going to engrave roses even deeper into the heart. And what will be good is if I kept the roses to the bottom, because that it's hard to demonstrate, I suppose. Actually, in the screen it doesn't look that thick, but when I'm looking at it, yeah, it looks like it's probably about that thick, which is not bad at all. There's quite a lot to play with. How do you demonstrate? This is really hard. Anyway, take my word for it, it's quite thick. So down sort of in this area, I'll be able to get really stuck in with some roses, which shouldn't be, okay, we don't want to make them look like plasticine. So it's going to be a case of engraving the shape out and then the delicate leaves onto that. Oh, goodness knows how I'm going to do it. I have no idea, but I never do. So it's always an experiment. Let's get on with it.
I have drawn a line level across the top and centered with a panel on the stem, and leveled my heart so that it's nice and straight. You can put it at an angle if you feel like, of course, that doesn't matter at all. But I think if you're ever so slightly offline, that doesn't quite look like it was meant to be. So it's best to have it either straight or at an angle. Right, I have used a sharpish little diamond and gone through the paper, removed it, and now I have got a sintered diamond, and that is the grit going all the way through. Not essential, of course, but I just really enjoy using these. Just going around the outline. Again, I want this quite deep. And of course using water to lubricate. Keeping the cut nice and sharp, keeping the diamond quite happy and keeping the dust down. Right, now I've got a really large diamond burr. Loads of dust, as you can see, so make sure you are well masked up, and if you have a dust extractor, you put that on. And of course I've got the water dripping as well, so you can see that even the water doesn't keep it from flying about when it's quite that much dust. Now, as you can see, I have very roughly engraved over this area. I've removed quite a lot, but the impression is given by the depth on the side, in fact. And probably not that deep in the middle. Now I've got a very long sort of flame-shaped burr, which I am not smoothing out, but kind of leveling out the very rough diamond work. And I smidged a little bit over the top, which was very, very naughty. And so I'm just neatening that. It's ever so tiny, hardly anything. Of course, this is sped up to, in fact, 250 times. No, not 250 times. 250% of normal speed. You can see the light catching the edge of the heart there, how that has gone relatively deep, and it gives it a really nice sort of cushiony type finish. Still the small diamond here, the one that I started off with, just going round the edges and making sure that I'm happy with the sort of blending in towards the middle and basic neatness. I still don't need the whole thing to be absolutely smooth or anything like that, and you will see as I go along why that is. So here I have got a Jura White dry. I had my drill set at quite a high speed, in other words maximum high speed, so my foot is happily on the pedal and actually running way faster than it should have been for this stone. It's very unusual for me to do that, and just wasn't concentrating. I had the radio on, so happily engraving away a little bit hectically. Off it went, flying into the distance. So here I have a new burr, and I'm using water. I have also slowed my drill right down. I have set the maximum at about 15,000 RPM. Now I'm pointing out to you what happens when you use a Jura White at too high a speed. It has burnt the glass. Now you can see there are tiny little bubbles, and they are very, very annoying. I can't stand them. I was trying to pick it out for you, but it's not really. So there's only one thing to do, and that's to engrave over them. I'm seeing if it works with the Jura White again, running slowly. Sometimes it does. I think it was all right. You can see there how the bubble has popped and kind of left a little mark. Now, you mustn't be afraid of this, but I'm just showing you what happens. You can correct it afterwards. I just don't like leaving them like that. But it was only because I was running it too fast. It was going at about, 28,000 RPM, way too fast for a Jura White. here I have a little rubber, and I am buzzing around, and I am very lightly polishing out these little dots. I am playing it by ear. I'm messing around really and just inventing as I go along. As I mentioned at the beginning, I was going to do this sort of textured background. Right, here I have got a very large diamond burr, and I'm very lightly skimming over the surface, and so that it's got a kind of an eveny kind of texture throughout. And you can see that, of course, it doesn't go in to the little dots, it kind of neatens them. So now I've got a rubber, and I'm running the rubber around the edge of the heart to darken it slightly, just adding a bit of variety. Again, more of my sort of little cushiony effect, and just blending it in a little bit. I like to use a soft rubber for that effect. That's quite cute as it is, actually. Right, so I have very, very simply scribbled a rose with 3 leaves onto here, and as you can see, I had a wet thumb, and it's blurred my pen, which is a non-permanent marker. And here I have a small diamond, and I'm marking out the leaves and now the petals of the rose. Decided, of course, I should be using water, but of course the water would have blurred out all the green straight away, and so I didn't really need the drawing for the rose. It's a very, very simplified rose. As you can imagine, these details are now going deeper than the little dots. Here I have the Jura white, and I am now softening the tones of the leaves, getting them ready to polish, and going right over the edges of all the petals. This takes away any little chippy bits that I may have created. And polishing out the leaves, just with a little rubber. I just happened to grab one that was the green one, whatever you've got. Of course, it has to be a small one to get into that little space. And of course, running it around the edges where I used the Jura white as well. So now we have got some good contrasting outlines for the flower. Zipping over the edges of the leaves again into the background as I did before with a diamond. So once again, just clarifying the shape of the leaf. Wasn't happy with the shape of that one, so I've gone back in with a sharp Jura white just to neaten up the top of the leaf, and polishing it out again. This is a wonderful rubber disc, and running over the top surfaces, it can't go into the dents, which is very useful, which means that you can zip it around really quickly and it's not going to be bothered about the really white deep areas. It's only going to polish the upper surface. This little rubber, however, I'm just managing to get into the edges of the petals to soften slightly. Because it's a softer rubber, that will produce a softer effect. Got a very sharp rat's tail, diamond rat's tail, and I'm going around the edges of the leaves to define them even further. And just neatening the top area where the rubber had just scruffed up the background a little bit too much. And now I'm sharpening the edge of the petals, just brightening them up and making them just, it helps to make them look finer, if you like, on the edges. I needn't have gone all the way around because obviously sometimes the petals are folded back, in which case you wouldn't have such a sharp finish to them anyway. So I'm going over the middle of the leaves. I've decided to make that light, and then I added some veins which I pretty much regretted afterwards, and I nearly polished them out again, to be honest. I didn't need them. So I decided to get the black rubber out again and just add an extra little bit of darkness in places. And of course, must sign your work. And there you have it, a lovely little Valentine heart. Really cute. I hope you enjoyed that. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye for now.